does not impress me, but.
So you're pulling out your statistics.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Other key points from the research, the fact sheets. How would you document this? Sources of documentation,
You would have copies of your assessments.
copies of the assessments. Anything else?
Well, we all have to have a data notebook, and it has it has all our assessments, the formative and summatives in it, with the elements.
I think that's great, because I know that, and again, this is going back to my old principal roots, a lot of times in our leadership team meetings, our exploratory department really struggled with that in the beginning, because we also use data notebooks. It's kind of like, well, how do we really document for our particular area? So I think that's fantastic if you all have the data notebooks in your department. That's great. But that would be, a piece of evidence. Anything else? What kind of documentation could you have to show where you are with this particular standard?
Well, we do script writing. Okay, here early, and we actually have been using, we have, over the first 9 weeks, we have probably 100, 105 vocabulary terms. So
Okay.
they have to incorporate the vocabulary terms into script writing.
And this is theater?
I'm sorry, this is theater.
Okay, thank you.
They have to incorporate the vocabulary into a very short script, like maybe 2 pages or whatever, to demonstrate that they understand the working vocabulary that they're going to be using the entire school year.
Okay.
And so that's, for me, that's documentation.
That's your
That
art.
will go in my data notebook. Does that make sense?
It
Is
does.
that-
It does.
Am I on it?
I feel like, I think that's great.
So y'all have a data notebook, if an administrator comes in to observe and so that's just a piece of documentation that you always have
It's always
available?
available.
And you keep up with it and keep it, that's awesome.
I think it's
That is
fantastic,
awesome.
because like I said, I know the struggle that we had in the beginning with our department, so I think that's fantastic. And so when we go to the next standard, I definitely want to hear, how do you use that to drive your instruction? Because that's what assessment use is all about. All right, any other comments on sources of documentation, any key things from the fact sheet? All right. Let's talk about the different assessments. And tell me your name again?
Mary.
Mary, before the end of the year, before the end of the year, I know your names. Before the end of the semester, I'll know your names, because we'll see each other enough. You mentioned some of the different types of assessments that you could use. The first one, diagnostic assessment. What is diagnostic assessment? When is it done?
Sort of like as you're teaching.
What is it before?
Yeah, it's prior to instruction. One example that immediately comes to my mind, the first thing that we did as soon as the kids came in, we had, ma'am?
A slow.
Exactly. But we always did an initial assessment at the beginning of the year, just to kind of see where the kids are. That's what you want to know. You don't know where to go with your kids. You don't know where they currently are when they come in the door. So with diagnostic assessment, you see it's given prior to instruction. What kind of information does it give you?
If they have any prior knowledge.
Prior knowledge, great. If they are, strengths, weaknesses, skills, you'll know if you need to spend extra time on it. You'll know how you need to separate your groups out at that point. Maybe you start looking at some intervention, who needs what with the diagnostic. And again, here, you can use it to plan your instruction to meet the needs of each individual student. And then it's definitely going to give your information for remediation, acceleration, or differentiation. And we know all of those are keys as well. So just like I said, just an example that we did, as soon as they came in, we had a diagnostic assessment. Do you all use a lot of those in your
Pardon this interruption. At this time, would the 9th through 12th grade girls please report to the cafeteria? Would the 9th through 12th grade girls please report to the cafeteria at this time?
So diagnostic is
Your intercom works.
Yeah, and I love y'all's bell, by the way.
You should get a phone ring over it. It's delightful.
It sounds like a jailbreak.
Diagnostic is done before instruction. It gives you that background. It tells you where you need to go in terms of your instructional planning so that you can meet the